All the cops are off duty from 2:30 to 6:30 in the morning. You can come in at Oregon at Lakeview. You can go through to Pendleton and not have no police involved. But you see all these Mexican lowriders coming through. You see a lot of people coming through that's kind of sketchy. Why are they coming through at that time in the morning? Now, then there was a airplane that came in loaded with marijuana. They busted it at the airport. They took the drugs into lockup. And lo and behold, drugs came up missing. I forget the exact poundage that was missing, but it came up missing out of lockup. All of a sudden, we had marijuana on our streets. Our kids was being used as the users, and the cops and that our law enforcement was the suppliers. This is a corruption that has occurred in Harney County. I could go on and on. People in Harney County have sat here for years, ever since I've been here. You'd hear, did you hear this guy did this, sheriff did this, did you hear this guy did this, whispering behind the back, but nobody stood up. Nobody did nothing about it. They just accepted it because everybody's afraid of the consequences of speaking up. You guys in the law enforcement, you might come and harass me. You might come and try to give me a ticket for this or try to throw me in jail. I ask you, the law abiding, honest, fair, constitutional sheriffs and police officers, are you going to allow people to be harassed? Is a criminality that you're supposed to be protecting us from to occur? If you do, then you're no better than the SS that was out to destroy people in Germany, or the people in Russia that was controlling the people of Russia that let them starve to death. Socialism, to all you college educated young kids that's voting for Bernie Sanders, I will tell you this: study socialism. Study it. Don't believe the crap that's taught to you by the American teachers. We have socialist professors that is against America, but yet they're taking the paycheck with the American people to preach anti Americanism. Socialism is control. You have your elite party, you have your subservient party. Go to Russia, look at the pictures of the food line, starvation. Look at the in Ukraine in 1932 and 1933.
Or Venezuela right now.
Venezuela right now. They can't even have toilet paper. Toilet paper is a commodity that is sold on the black market for extremely amount of big cash. This is socialism. It is a control of the people. You give them a little bit, so they barely sustain. But yet they take 90%. Bernie Sanders, free college, free schooling, everything's free. My God, we're going to be the best country in the world. We're going to have free. They're going to take 90% of your paycheck and give you 10%. If you guys that vote for these people, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, socialist, progressive Democrat, progressive liberal, no matter what they name themselves, if you are willing to vote for them, I ask you, I live in Riley, Oregon, send me your 90% of your paycheck and I will make it grow. I will do something with it. I will not pocket it in my pocket. I will not live like a king in Washington, D.C., where they're getting paid millions to do nothing but argue like school kids. That's socialism. You are giving them your money to build for you, but they're not. They're building for themselves. Most of the college kids in the United States don't even know our presidents of the United States. They have problem with our states. Some of them, President Obama, didn't even know how many states we had in the United States. He did not know how many territories we had in the United States. If you are that college educated, a constitutional lawyer, as Obama professes to be, which I doubt, I think it's a title that was honorary given to him, then you have problems. If you don't know simple things, you don't know the Constitution of the United States, which is written not for your lawyers, not for everybody that thinks they're college educated, is for the simple man, the simple man of common sense. That's our Constitution. That's this little pamphlet I pack around. And everybody calls it a fake Constitution. It's not the real thing. Study the original Constitution, look it up on the internet, the original document, and study this word for word, the same piece of paper. It is just in more portable form and not hidden in some museum like the Smithsonian where we cannot see it and touch it and feel it. But it's here in our pockets where it's by our heart, and we keep it where it's close to us. So, America, step up and realize what's going on in Harney County will affect you. I was just talking to a young lady out of Orange County, California. She's got 27 acres. The federal government showed up with armed guards and forced her to let a cell tower outfit on her property to put in a cell tower. It's in courts now. It's in battle. But she was
Armed guards?
armed assault weapons to bring those people in to guard them. She's been harassed by 3 cops, sheriff. They've drug her through court. They're trying to steal her land. That's 27 acres in LA, down by LA. It's going to happen everywhere, people. The government does not want you to own private land. And that when you take out a banknote, you're leasing that land. Probably that banknote, the money paid for it, is laundered money from some corrupt organization in the world. The BLM is on that. You look deep into those contracts, you will find the Bureau of Land Management Inc. involved. There is a corruption in this country that needs to be stopped, needs to be shut down. And people, that's the way it goes. As far as natives, that's yelling artifacts. The refuge has been destroyed long time ago by the government. They have used machinery on it. People's walked all over that place. Now, I am for the tribes. Some of my best friends are of the Carrier tribes in northern British Columbia. These gloves was made for me out of moose hide by a dear friend of mine, Chief George. His wife made them, and now she's deceased now. But her granddaughter held them for me for 20 years till I could get up there to pick them up.
Some very nice beadwork.
Beautiful beadwork. And I wear them in the cold because it keeps my hands warm. They're made out of moose hide. But I'm very much for the tribes. I'm very much for the tribes to regain and retain their pride, not to be some puppy dog that the government comes in, just like happened at the Paiute Reservation. I read an article, I cannot find it, disappeared on me, that they received a $40 million grant to build a casino outside of Burns if they went against the Bundys. This is something that we should look into. Also happened in Utah, in the incidents in Utah. And they received a large sum of money to build a casino if they went against protesters that was protesting freedom. They say native artifacts, sensitive areas, endangered weeds. These are just terminologies they use, but the ultimate goal is to have control. We had the sage grouse issue, and that where they was trying to make the sage grouse here in Oregon an endangered species. The sage grouse co-inhabited for 150 years with the cattle. They have flourished and became abundant. There's 40-headed sage grouse out here in the alfalfa fields in the summertime. They're using the bugs, the seed knocked from the cows. They work with the cows, like the birds in the big herds in Africa that follows the guinea fowls that follow the big herds. But they're using it as an endangered species for control. They did not get it classified as an endangered species, but now here's the touchy spot that a lot of these ranchers are saying we won. They're not endangered, but you did not win. They had the law for the endangered species over here, and then they had the law to implement if the endangered species, the sage grouse became an endangered species. This law did not pass. But while these guys are celebrating their win, their victory, Steve Grasty is billing 4,000 hours for it. This law has been passed. So now the BLM will come at you and they'll say you've got to follow this law on preservation of the sage grouse. So it's a sleight of hand to get something passed to control your land. Steve Grasky did 4,000 hours, he said, that he billed to the grant that he took out for the sage grouse. I have one question to it, as if with the other 5 grants that you have, Steve Grasky. At the time you worked on these sage grouse, did you bill the citizens of Harney County for the hours that you're claiming that you worked for the county when you were working for the sage grouse? There's a conflict of interest. In my world, it's called padding your books. You're padding your time card. You're getting paid to do something, but you're doing here. If I worked for, say I worked for you, I was your employee, and you assigned me a certain task to do. But at the same time, I was getting paid by this guy to do something else. Well, he's giving me a little bit more money. So I was still charging you and not doing the job, but this guy was paying me. So I'm getting double income. Steve Grasky was getting 6-time income. This is a corruption. Our small county. Why do you think Steve Grasky is hiding behind the walls? He won't come out and talk to the people, not even when there's a big mass of people there, that he should have came out and been a true leader and talked to the people. diffuse this situation before we all get killed. And it's just,
We're still going. I'm just.
it's just time
getting them
that we, the people of the United States of America, becomes one. We, the people, join together. No matter what your religion is, no matter your identity that you worship, if you are an American and you say the Pledge of Allegiance, you come together as Americans. It's kind of funny the corruption that's occurring. We have the ACLU telling our kids we can't pray, say the Pledge of Allegiance, telling our Catholic churches to remove the crosses. Because, oh my God, somebody's insulted and seen a cross upon a church. We have people telling us we can't say Pledge of Allegiance, we can't wear flags on Cinco de Mayo Day. This is the United States, this is not Mexico. This is all to take away your rights as Americans, one step at a time. You can see it from the seatbelt law. They took a small right from you to drive. If you want to drive without a seatbelt and you feel safe that way, that was your right. If you wanted to wear a seatbelt, felt safe that way, that was your right. But the government stepped in and took this right away from these people for these people. Same with your helmet law on motorcycles. They've taken away the rights of the people that chose not to wear a helmet. If they felt they were safer that way, well, that's their belief. But their right was taken away. They take a little right at a time. And you always use the same terminology for the safety of the children. President Obama gave a gun control speech. He says that we must control the guns for the safety of the children. These are keywords. They play on sympathy. They play on emotion. They've considered abortion illegal. So what did they do? A child in a woman's womb is not a child. It's an entity. They made it an it. They become an it. That it. It's a right to kill an it. But once they say child, then the emotion of the people will come together. As they come in and they say, we're here to protect the children, but you're willing to kill this bunch of children, but now you're saying you want to protect this children. Now, we got some problems. We got some issues. I seen an article written by a professor. I call them nutcrackers. These nutcrackers think they're so smart and intelligent. Came up and said pedophilia was a good thing. They taught the children sexual identity. We have a school down in, I think it's Georgia, that now is a gay school. It is to teach kids from kindergarten to grade 12 to be gay. That is acceptable. We love it. I call it pedophilia.
Where's that?
I believe it's in Georgia. I forget the state it was in. Look it up. But they're allowing the kids now to be gay. These kids haven't even entered into puberty yet. How do they know what their sexual identity is? We have lawsuits going on about kids that's 6, 7 years old that wants to wear a dress to school and wants to be called a she or a he. Excuse me. You can have the surgical operations, have your equipment removed or have equipment added. You can have breasts, you can have not, and be a transsexual. But still, you are a male or a female. You cannot change your DNA. So let's get that crap gone. Now, I know the controversy will be people call me racist, people call me all this. I'm not a racist. I'm not a sexist. I'm not a feminist. But I believe we are all one and we all stand together. If you American people stand with us in this battle that has came down to there's going to be a showdown here. And the showdown's coming from the government. The government's here to stomp on the neck of the free people. The government's coming here to oppress us. And through Harney County with a small population instead of any big cities, they can express their will. Why do we have all this military build up here? We have weapons. We have snipers. I counted 28 snipers going into the building. Why do we have these snipers here? These snipers are here for one reason. They are here to kill us. They are not part of the U.S. military. They are part of the United States of America, Inc. United States of America, Inc. is a corporation that was started back in Lincoln days. It is here to suppress the people and to show the United States, if you step out of line, we will come upon you and we'll come upon you hard. Now, this is just the beginning, people. This is the beginning of the show. If you want chains, be around your ankles, be on your wrists. You blacks that say you were slaves, welcome crowd, you are a slave. You're a slave to the government. You're a slave to the cities and their ghettos. the cities and their ghettos, which is Democratic controlled. You think the Democrats believe in you people? You think the Democrats want to help you? No, they don't. The starter of the foundation of Planned Parenthood had one belief, was to weed out the blacks, weed out the African Americans because they were weeds, and we need to harvest these weeds and get rid of them. Planned Parenthood and abortion became part of the cause. And so wake up, America. Let's join together and let's become one. You, me, brother and sisters, black, white, Native American, Chinese, Japanese, no matter what your culture is. We've got to become Americans, not African Americans, not white Americans, not German Americans, but Americans. One word alone, Americans. You stand with me or you stand against me. That is the call. Let's get this done. Let's get it over. Let's take the government back to the people.
That's real good, Tom. Hey, Hawk, you got questions for him? He's going. Keep him going.
Actually been awesome, and I think the land grab is going to be a lot bigger than we know, and I think I'm really beginning to think that's the whole reason for Jade Helm this summer, was to put all this military gear in place for when they get ready to do this, because they got the problem brewing up in Texas. I think it's Red River Gorge or something like that, and they're trying to and they're trying to take another big piece of land from somebody in New Mexico over some kind of protected mosquito or something. It's so those.
Yeah, I just read.
Go ahead.
And it's to protect this rare native mosquito that, by God, I'll slap him off my arm if he lands on me. But they use endangered. These are keywords. It's like the child. They use these keywords to get people to feel sensitive, to build on emotion. At the same time, they're backstabbing people.
They're trying to break livelihood of farmers by stopping tobacco production by buying out your growing. They'll pay you some money to stop growing it, and then you can never grow it again. And it's one of the more profitable crops you can grow up here, because we don't have a lot of flat land. It's hilly and knobby, so we have to grow it in patches.
Yes, my great grandparents were tobacco farmers down in North Carolina, and then they went to moonshine for the Kennedys. They ran bootleg moonshine for the Kennedys.
Yeah, we have some of that. We have some of that here. I don't know if you've ever seen that show Moonshiners, but Chico's lives right down the door, literally down the road from me.
Hobby dang. Dang. It's kind of funny you bring up the tobacco. That is a funny industry as hell. The people of the United States was, oh my God, people smoking, people's getting cancer. We got to sue the tobacco industry. Then what did they do? They sued them. They got millions and millions of dollars to do what? It ain't going to stop. It's going to pat people's pockets. But at the same time, state of Oregon, a $2.50 pack of tobacco will cost you $6.59. All that's taxes, luxury tax, sin tax, whatever they call it, is a tax. And so the American taxpayers paying for something that the government's building wealth on, that's not helping nobody. They're just building this wealth upon it. And then they have these stop smoking campaigns. Who's going to pay that tax whenever people stop smoking cigarettes, when there's no more cigarette smokers? I'll tell you what, they'll come up with something else, most likely soda pop.
And they've already started that.
Did they?
Yeah, in New York, the mayor tried to regulate how large the big adults can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and I believe at San Francisco that they are moving to not allow sugared sodas and things like that to be sold publicly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Pelosi's country too. So you know how stupid it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
the nanny state is definitely growing.
Yeah. And this is it, people. You might think, well, it doesn't affect me. I'll give it up. It don't affect me, so I'll fight for that cause, because those people need to have this done to them. Because we got to make sure those people lose their rights. They will come at you. Might down the road. What that one movie star wanted one square of toilet paper for everybody when you did your business. That's the stupidity of the liberal policy. It's tax based. They want money. They're money grubbers. How did President Obama go in? I think he had something like $1 million or some dollars that he was worth, now worth almost $30 million in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. How did that happen? How come is there 249 million missing from Hillary Clinton's accounts, books they cannot find when she was Secretary of State? How did somebody that came out and said, when we came out of the White House, we were poor and now worth hundreds of millions of dollars? That's corruption, people. They don't care about you. That is corruption. Hammond Ranch, they want the control of the Hammond Ranch for one reason, the natural resources. They will. Peter DeFazio is taking money for his campaigning from business entities and unions that will be down here setting up shop and building business. And now he just sent out a letter with 6 other congressmen and women calling what's happening to that refuge needs to be resolved and resolved immediately. Needs to go down and take care of the Bundys and resolve the issues with Bundys. And that you need to show the militants of the United States that the government will step on your neck. This is Peter D.